Chapter 29. "I'm Dr. Markham," the man said. He took me from Mr. Pinker and set me down in the palm of his hand. "This is Dr. Beach. We're from the University Lab for Experimental Research," Dr. Beach said. He had a scratchy, hoarse voice. His dark eyes narrowed as he studied me in the other scientist's palm. Dr. Beach turned to Mr. Pinker. He fingered the badge on his lab coat. "We're going to take care of this young man," he said. "We have his parents' permission." Mr. Pinker studied them. "Where are Stephen's parents?" he asked. "They had to go out," Dr. Beach said. "They asked if Dr. Markham and I take Stephen to our lab to make him tall again." Mr. Pinker shook his head. "I'm sorry," he said. "I can't let you take Stephen until I talk to his parents first." "We are wasting time," Dr. Markham said. "Every second counts." "Sorry," Mr. Pinker insisted. "I cannot let you take him." "You have no choice," Dr. Markham snapped. He wrapped his fingers around me tightly, and both men started to run toward the street. Mr. Pinker cried out. He made a wild grab for me. Dr. Beach stuck out his shoe and tripped Mr. Pinker, who went sprawling onto his stomach on the grass. Dr. Markham's fingers gripped me tighter, so tight I could barely breathe. Their shoes thundered down the front lawn. They had a white van waiting at the curb. Dr. Markham shoved me into the back seat and slammed the door. I heard Mr. Pinker shout from the lawn, but the two men leaped into the front of the van and we squealed away. "Let me go!" I tried to scream, but my voice came out in a tiny, hoarse cry. "Take me home!" I turned and saw a birdcage beside me on the seat. I peered inside. Bugsy. They had taken the bird too. The van squealed around the corner. "Where are we going? Do you really know how to turn it back to a normal size?" I demanded. "Yes," both men said at once. "We'll take you to the lab on campus," Dr. Beach said. "It won't take long." "But how did you know how to find me?" I asked. "We saw your dad's ad online," Dr. Beach said. "The ad said you found a missing brown bird. That's our bird." "We're happy to have him back," Dr. Markham said. "He escaped from our lab." "We've been experimenting with birds," Dr. Beach said. "Bugsy is a hawk. He was a gigantic hawk, but we shrank him down to the size of a parrot." I stared to the front seat. The van hit a bump and I went flying into the air. I landed hard. The cage bounced with me. Bugsy uttered a squawk. You've been shrinking birds?" I asked. "We've been testing the effects of human growth hormones," Dr. Markham explained, "and human shrink hormone. We had great success with this hawk, but then he escaped." "The bird is dangerous," Dr. Beach said, almost in a whisper. He looked at me. "You see what the bird did to you?" "Huh?" I uttered a sharp cry. "The bird did this to me?" They both nodded. "You must have come in contact with the hawk's tongue," Dr. Markham said. "The shrink hormone is carried in the bird's saliva," Dr. Beach explained. "I know it sounds crazy, but any contact with the bird's tongue will result in shrinking." "The bird's tongue?" I fought back. I remember Bugsy nibbled my finger, and then, at the talent show, when I made him appear in my act, he kissed me. Yes, I remembered the feeling of the bird's scratchy tongue down the side of my face, and then, a few minutes after that, I started to shrink. So that was it. Now I finally had the answer. A bird's tongue did this to me. How crazy was that? As we raced down the street, the two men talked quietly to each other. I couldn't hear what they were talking about. A few minutes later, I saw the university campus outside the van window. I saw the green circle surrounded by old brick buildings, then a row of campus stores and restaurants. The van picked up speed and kept going. "Hey, wait!" I shouted. We went past the campus. I saw it back there. "Our lab is not really on campus," Dr. Markham said. "We're almost there." I knew I couldn't trust them. They had stolen me and Bugsy. But what could I do? I couldn't escape. Maybe they will return me to normal, I thought. I crossed all my fingers and hoped. A few minutes later, the van turned off the road and rumbled over a bumpy gravel path. The path wound through some deep woods. We stopped in front of a long, low building hidden far behind back the trees. The building had no sign in the front. It was white stucco with a red flat roof. A row of windows ran down the long front. The windows were small and they were all shut. "This way," Dr. Markham said. He lifted me carefully out of the van. Part 2, next time.